Hey everybody, welcome back to You Are Free TV. It is Thursday, June 18th, Thursday, yes, 2026, and I'm so glad to be back with you here on the show. Today we're going to have an excellent interview. I'm so excited about it with the amazing crew over at C60 Evo. These are the two of the founders who have incredible news to talk with us today about neuroplasticity, neurohealth, neuroprotection with C60 Evo. And of course, that is the miracle molecule ESS60. But at this time, as everyone is coming down with such intense amounts of neurological disorders after the big Franken V and everything we're being constantly assaulted with the massive Gs, the EMFs, the geoengineering, everything it's doing to our brains, and how there is, it's hard to find products that go through the blood-brain barrier and into the mitochondria and into our neurons. So we're going to be getting into that. I'm going to bring them in, and it's going to be a fantastic show. So thanks for being with us. Hey, everyone. So good to see you all again. I'm always loving being with you here on the show. It's been a couple months. And you know, this topic is probably my favorite topic, talking about brain health, because without it, what are we, right? It is, I think, you know, the top of the list of people's what they want to hang on to as they age, and especially when it comes to, you know, moving forward towards the end of life. You know, you want to die healthy, as they say, and having your brain function and the amount of independence and freedom that people watching this show, that's on the top of the list of what we want to maintain for as long as we can and for our entire lives. This issue is really huge, especially with the massive microwaving, radiation assault, you know, all of it. So much of it is hitting us neurologically. So we're here, of course, with the fantastic C60 Evo co-founders. This is Patty Greer, the amazing, incredible crop circle filmmaker and ESS60 entrepreneur extraordinaire, and Chris Burr, who actually is the incredible creator of C60 Evo and blasted out of this incredible laboratory in Houston, Texas, the best quality with the best made ingredients in the world. And it is super powerful, basically supernatural in its capabilities. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that, Chris, you have a great presentation here about neuroprotection with C60 Evo. So I'm going to let you, do you want me to bring up the...
Could I suggest we do a little shot? I don't know if you're prepared.
Absolutely. Time. Yeah, I've been really amping mine up. You forgot yours? Here, you can have some of mine. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just, before I do mine, you know, I've been ramping mine up, Chris, because of like the Lyme stuff and the alpha gal stuff. I've been dealing with some crazy stuff that really hits the old noggin. Yeah. And so in one way, it's just such a relief when you kind of know what you're dealing with, so you can go after it. But there's not a lot of information out there. But what I am finding is that I've been really upping my Evo, and it has been helping a lot. Yeah. Because I kind of like gone to like what I thought was like my equilibrium level, and it was kind of half of normal what I used to take, and now I'm kind of way up to above, you know, more than 100% of what I used to take, you know, about 1.5. So, but I'm doing a lot of the MCT oil because it's antifungal, antimicrobial, even though we know the olive oil has the antimicrobial as well. But there's something about, especially this time of the month, of parasite cleanse time, and I'm dealing with spirochetes, and I'm up till the full moon is the time when, you know, the 2 weeks, new moon to full moon, not to be woo-woo, but in truly scientific ways, is what gets the, you know, parasites really ramp up. So it's the time to attack them hard if you're going to try to kill those little bastards. So anywho, all right.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Mm-hmm.
And I always do switch it around in my mouth just for that kind of antiviral and antibacterial piece that you mentioned. You know, it's very good for your oral microbiome, your gut microbiome, which people are talking about so much these days. But you know, what's born out of this, and you can pull it up at any time.
Okay.
Patty was having a conversation with Tracy, the wife of one of our influencers, and Tracy was asking the question, hey, how is C60 Evo helping her brain stay calm in these crazy times? When she feels stressed, she'll take some, and it feels like it helps her right away. So we're not making any claims. I'm like, hey, if that's happening for you, here is the thought process. Like, what might the science behind it be? We might as well throw out. The FDA has not evaluated our product. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. And I really think about, if you think about managing stress, and I'll start here because I wasn't surprised, and I know Patty wasn't surprised either. Like, we just get so many amazing testimonials, but there is one that it just resonates me for whatever reason. A couple things here. I got some product to an influencer in the UK. She sent me her video, and in the beginning of the video, she shared that she was in the middle of quitting smoking. Now, I don't know if you've been around somebody quitting smoking. My parents quit smoking multiple times as I was growing up. It was never pleasant. That's just a stress, right? Like, you're detoxing off of something that you're addicted to. So I was convinced this video was just, I wasted my money sending the product to her. I'm wasting my time watching this video. But she actually went on to give a very good video and a very good testimonial, which is already amazing. And she said one thing that I'll never forget. And that is, she said, I find myself having a longer fuse with my toddler. Now, I don't know if you ever had children, been around children, maybe been around adults who act like children, but some days you have a shorter fuse and other days you have a longer fuse. And that really is talking about, I'll describe it as kind of this neuroplasticity that we'll be talking about. So I think of neurological decline, and these can be much more serious conditions. Neurological decline is the thing that most people are afraid of, right? We think of it as sustained neuroinflammation, mitochondrial energy depletion, and then this that generates this loss of neuroplasticity and actually synaptic degradation. In terms of neuroinflammation, there is an oxidative stress spike, and this stress surges inflammatory cytokines. That's in the brain. We're going to be talking about that some. Of course, that'll drive those mood crashes. And then mitochondrial depletion. We talk about mitochondria a lot when we join you. The purpose of the job of mitochondria is create energy in the form of ATP. And so when your mitochondria is failing, you end up with less ATP and this kind of weakening of the brain cells. And it's important to note, like, mitochondria is incredibly important. There's between 50 and 5,000 mitochondria in every cell in your body, but your brain has 2 million mitochondria. So it has an outsized impact. The ability to, that we think this has in the mitochondria has an outside impact on this kind of neurological decline. And then finally, all of this goes back to neuroplasticity. The neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to be plastic, to store new information, to have new thoughts, to be able to manage stress. That's all kind of tied into neuroplasticity. And here is what we think is going on in terms of ESS60 and how it might actually be impacting them. One, helping to neutralize neuroinflammation. ESS60, well, really it dissolved in olive oil. There's an ad hoc study on the web showing it to be 172 times more powerful than vitamin C. So as an antioxidant, absolutely. We have to be careful when we talk about inflammation. So then again, this is very theoretical. There's lots of work to do there. In terms of mitochondrial energy support, we'll talk. Actually, I've got one slide that's entirely about the mitochondria. And ultimately, you want to be able to produce that ATP, that energy source that your brain cells use, and manage the negative outcome. And there is actually, as mitochondria is producing energy. And finally, all of this really protects your pathways. You can stay in a calmer state. That's all tied to neuroplasticity. What is the ESS60 molecule? Real quick, we've shared this before. This molecule is a beautiful soccer ball shaped molecule discovered in 1985 by 3 scientists, Dr. Smalley, Dr. Curl, and Dr. Croto. Those 3 scientists went on to win the Nobel Prize for that discovery in 1996. And it was discovered here in Houston at Rice University. That's where our lab is based. Our lab started producing this material in 1991, a full 5 years before they were awarded the Nobel Prize. Pretty spectacular. We're very proud to have been in here. I certainly consider this molecule my baby, even though it's probably more technically their baby. But I certainly consider it my baby. The molecule's amazing. For various reasons, they thought that the molecule would be toxic, and then they put it in a toxicity study. And here's the results of that toxicity study. Instead of being toxic, the test subjects that they gave it to, in this case, Wistar rats, lived 90% longer than the control group. So this was supposed to be a toxicity study. In this study, there were 3 groups of rats. One group was given water, that's a control group. One group was given olive oil, kind of a semi-control group, and the other one was given olive oil with the ESS60 molecule. A typical Wistar rat lives out to 32 months, and that's what happened in this study for those control rats given water. So nothing special, nothing special happened to them. It's important to note that the rats given olive oil lived out to 38 months. That's an 18% extension of life. Brian Johnson's out there talking about olive oil. Dr. Stephen Gundry's out there talking about olive oil. More people are talking about olive oil. I love what Dr. Gundry says. He says the purpose of food is to get more olive oil into your mouth. And that's our most, like that formula that we just took at the top of the show is just 2 ingredients, a high quality extra virgin olive oil and as much of the ESS60 molecules we can get to dissolve in it. And I'll go ahead and point out, both of those things are naturally occurring, right? If you collect the soot from a candle flame, you will get small amounts, parts per billion, maybe parts per million of the ESS60 molecule. So everyone in your audience, whether they've tried our product or not, has been exposed to this molecule. So yes, 38 months, that's great. Olive oil's 18% extension of life, but that is nothing compared to a 90% extension of life.
Amazing.
And right. Absolutely amazing. And there's another piece of this study that is really profound, which is a typical Wistar rat, as I mentioned, lives out to 32 months, but they have a known amount of tumor mass in the body. The more they live, the more tumor mass they have in the body. So even though the C60 Evo rats lived out to 62 months, none of them had any tumors. Right. So ostensibly, if you were to project this, they should have had just massive amounts of tumors in them. They had no tumors, probably a lot of the reason that they ultimately lived longer. And I'll share, I share this piece with some people and they're like, oh, cure for cancer. And my response is no. And then I add, let's be very sure. No, that is not what we're saying. There's a big difference between dealing with a cancer that has metastasized and potentially being a cancer preventative. We know things as simple as good nutrition, good exercise, good sleep can be cancer preventatives. And this piece of this study really does throw that into the arena, throw the ESS60 molecule into that arena. I will add, and this is a Petri dish study, but it's really profound results. In a Petri dish, they have cancer cells and healthy cells, and they introduce an anti-cancer agent. So really, this is a poison. You're trying to poison the cancer cells before the healthy cells. In the presence of the ESS60 molecule, there is increased efficacy against the cancer cells and protective effects for the healthy cells. So in the presence of ESS60, more cancer cells die, less healthy cells die. It's a pretty profound result. And we believe it's tied to the next slide. Before we go there, this study where the rats live 90% longer than the control group is called the BATI study. It's out of the University of Paris. And I'm very proud to share our lab provided the material, and our lab is mentioned in that original study. Like, we are just the founders, and I really do think of it as my baby. One of my babies. I actually have 2 babies. Well, I guess my dog counts. So that's 3 babies and then this baby. This is my only molecular baby.
No, but that's amazing. Everyone out there to hear that, just hear what he just said. That's what is in the product. This is incredible that you can claim that, because it is true. And not only that, it really created the industry at the same time. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
We were making it before it won the Nobel Prize, 5 years before. And those 3 scientists have gone on to do other things. Chris hasn't. He's gone on to master working with the molecules. So I would give you credit as your baby, and I put my hat on it. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe I truly adopted it in its teenage years, and I'm bringing it to full adulthood. maybe that's a good analogy. So why do we think this? Like, what's going on here? Why are these rats living 90% longer? Why do we have so many health testimonials, health-related testimonials? And we believe it boils down to this BOSS theory. So the BOSS theory stands for buffering oxidative stress system. What gives credibility to this theory is that we know from peer-reviewed published research, this ESS60 molecule gets into the mitochondria. We also know from way back in the 90s, this ESS60 molecule can hold up to 6 negatively charged particles on the exterior of the cage. And so what that looks like, right? So mitochondria, powerhouse of every cell. We've already talked about how many cells, 2 million in our brain cells. That still kind of blows me away. Like any power source, there is a negative byproduct. You think about your car going down the road, there's exhaust. You think about a power plant, there's a smokestack with smoke coming out of it. In the case of mitochondria, it's reactive oxygen species. The way I picture these is if they're left to their own devices, they're like little bumper cars running around the body, and everything they smack into, they cause rust, they cause oxidative stress, oxidative damage. And that sounds horrible, and it is horrible. And just like so many biological systems in our body, there's a way to manage that negative byproduct, and that is the internal antioxidants, glutathione and melatonin. Always worth pointing out, that melatonin, that's the sleep hormone. Our most consistent testimonials, people take the product in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and better sleep that night. But by the way, without the complexity of this BOSS theory, if we just help people sleep better, we will improve their physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So that's a really nice place to hang your hat. But I like to roll up my sleeves and get more geeky and really try and understand the mechanisms of action. So here in a healthy mitochondria, you can see we've depicted these reactive oxygen species as this beautiful, tranquil blue color because they've been bonded with the glutathione and the melatonin. They're not running around like little bumper cars. But what happens when you stress a mitochondria? And you just kind of listed a whole bunch of things that stress mitochondria. EMF radiation, radiation off your devices, smog, smoking, drinking, air flights, tough emails, tough conversations. Like you are stressed, and you have stressed mitochondria if you're alive in modern society. And it's at the point that they're stressed that they start producing more reactive oxygen species than can be managed internally, right? So you can see some of them are here, this beautiful baby blue color, because they've been managed by the glutathione and melatonin. But the red ones are like those little bumper cars, again, running around the body. Everything they smack into, they cause oxidative stress and oxidative damage. And that's the importance of the ESS60 molecule. Again, from peer-reviewed published research, it gets into the mitochondria. And we know, and you can see it here, holding up to 6 negatively charged particles. So they can't run around like little bumper cars and do damage. And then when that mitochondria can replenish the glutathione and the melatonin, then they can manage those reactive oxygen species properly so that no damage is incurred. And the fundamental kind of summary of this is we reduce the negative impact of stressed mitochondria. And if you reduce the negative impact of stressed mitochondria, given the fact that there's between 50 to 5,000 in every cell in your body, 2 million in your brain cells, you should have systemic benefits. You should have what we have, which are head to toe testimonials. And I know Patty likes to break down this BOSS theory into kind of more simple versions.
From 10 minutes, the 1 minute version is for people that don't speak big science words or medical terms, that C60 Evo before noon, and your weapon of choice, spoon straight out of the bottle, whatever, because it's antibiotic, no problem. Or you're going to have head to toe noticeable improvements because what you're doing is detoxing your system. So all these things are basically detoxing your cells. And if the brain has 2 million and the rest of your fortunate body has 50 to 5,000 in every cell, the mitochondria is going to be most affected in your brain and pineal gland. And we know how important that is for those of us working on our spiritual selves. We want to stay connected through both our brain and our pineal gland. And it makes a huge difference when your brain is not fully toxic. So that's what we're doing here, is we're detoxing the brain and the rest of the body. But needless to say, the brain first, because it's got 2 million mitochondria per cell. And this is extremely effective. 1 drop has 400 times more. Chris, finish the sentence.
Yeah, it has 400 times as many of these ESS60 molecules in it in 1 drop as you have cells in your body. right? Which does make perfect sense, because you're trying to saturate, you're trying to get this molecule into all of your mitochondria. There's between 50 to 5,000 in every cell in your body, 2 million in your brain cells. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And this is why people notice so quickly. You take it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I remember. Oh, I got to do this. Are you finding that, Free?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's,
Right,
I mean,
when you take it, you feel it.
oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You do notice it right away. And I wanted to mention earlier, Chris, when you mentioned the, you know, the incredible antimicrobial effect in your mouth, you feel that immediately, instantly. But as far as the neuro protective qualities, or the neuro, saving qualities of the Evo, and the olive oil, especially because there is the highest concentration. But with all of them, I mean, I just took the MCT, which only has half of the concentration, but it's in the MCT oil, which that's all it can hold. But it has other incredible aspects that have to do with endurance in the body, and kind of in a different way. But I noticed it immediately. I'm noticing it during this video. And like I said, I've been upping mine because of things I'm dealing with that are neuro issues, like Lyme and alpha-gal. And it's been huge to see how it's helped me to up my amount, okay? Because I was down to about half of what I normally would take. I thought I was just kind of at an equilibrium, but I also was testing out different stuff, because you know how it is when you're dealing with an ailment that's pretty, intense. You want to be really careful what you take and what it triggers, what goes where, what's going on. And so after I figured out a lot of stuff, I went back to, okay, now I'm going to go back up with the Evo, and even jacked it higher. And that's why I, came to understand why, as you mentioned earlier, Chris, when you're talking about the effects of it on cancer cells and healthy cells, why people I know, buy it by the case and are, glugging it, who are dealing with long-term cancer. The reason it's long-term is because they're still alive, and they are dealing with, major metastasized problems with cancer. So, that I understood that taking more of it actually for me now is really working good, and it's really important. And so I'm just loving it, because it's really interesting. I know it's kind of sounds strange that I like taking more, but I do, because I'm really noticing the effects again in a really elevated way when I'm dealing with an ailment and an illness. And it's almost like you appreciate it more when you need it more, kind of thing. And so, that's what's happening for me. So it is a really amazing testimony, because it's been several years now with the product. And now when I got I almost, it's strange when you get new ailments, and we never wish anything awful on anyone. But I do also have this God connection where I do kind of believe all things for good. And just me dealing with these problems and finding things like this out, I think it's incredible to just be able to give that testimony and say, hey, now I'm really seeing this is really, really helping when it comes to Lyme and alpha-gal in me, in my body, in my brain. So yes, so that's what I will say about that. And if you don't mind me going on about something else here for a second,
please.
It's mostly a question. It's not more along those lines, but when you were talking about the tumor aspect, the Wistar rats, all of this with the 90% longevity rate and et cetera, and the no tumors. One of the things that's been coming up really, there's all these CNS disorders, neurological disorders, all this kind of central nervous system stuff happening. And one thing that's kind of, coming out of the air, meaning the literally, but also the things that get put into our bodies. This thing called neurofibromatosis, and maybe either of you and Chris might want to look into this. Fibromatosis, and it's where tumors develop along nerve pathways. And I just think that's so interesting as a subject. I'm just kind of throwing it out there at you, Chris, because you're the nerdy science guy who also is really into biohacking and longevity and all this stuff, and aren't we all? But you kind of take a more clinical approach to it, shall we say. And so I'm kind of hoping you might look into that, because when we're looking at tumors and we're looking at all these central nervous system disorders, and how I also know from other people who have things like MS and other CNS, even, vagus nerve, these kind of retroviruses, all of this interaction that seems to be just catapulted right now by the post-V period of effects and ongoing whatever, is central nervous system, and this new newish, or whatever you want to call it, ailment, disease, very dangerous, deadly thing called neurofibromatosis, dealing with nerve pathways, tumors growing on the nerve pathways. I just think it's something that is going to be even more, I don't know, a reason why this project is so amazing. And just what I've noticed with my own self, dealing with the Lyme and alpha gal, and coming back from really, really serious symptoms that were neurological and very, very difficult to deal with. So that's my 2 cents on that. And me and you could talk about it between ourselves, Chris, as far as that.
An answer that I can't get out of my brain.
Oh,
but
great.
It's not the neural pathways. For me, it was the gut. But in the beginning, when I started taking Evo, C60 Evo from the lab, I had been poisoned by an idiot with uranium, and I was really down for the count. And when I started taking Evo daily, things came out of my body that were like cell structures. I'm sorry, I would look in the bog and just go, what is this? And I called it Roto-Rooter. I felt like the C60 Evo was Roto-Rooter going through my system, and it pulled out the toxins and it sent it out of me. But it was alarming, because I was like, oh God, what's leaving me, and how dead am I? I mean, it's really scared me. And the Evo brought me back.
Right.
The Evo is the only reason I think I'm still here, and C60 Evo, because I had a couple attempts on my life, like I think you have also, and we're survivors. What I want to say to your audience is, anybody out there listening is a survivor. What we just lived through, the Franken flu, 6 years of that, the masks, the don't talk to anyone, the don't be with anyone. I mean, what we just survived will be spoken about for decades to come. So I want to congratulate your audience, everyone that's here, even if you say, oh, I'm feeling depressed, oh, I'm getting crazy. No, you're not. You just survived something unbelievable. Free and I know we just survived something unbelievable. Chris is smart. He doesn't do conspiracy crap. He stays in the lab where it's safe. But we've been out here, and for people that are healthy and conservative and normal, what this is just boosting everything about you. It's like, take a spoonful and it's a better version of you. It doesn't make anybody sick that I know of, other than if you're really toxic, when you start taking it, you might feel a little queasy as it goes through your system, cleans out your lines, and sends it through, which is what happened to me. So I don't know. I would think your neurological lines would be similar, maybe, because what we're doing is lubricating severely the entire system. So I would think it might be helpful there also.
100%. All right,
Yeah.
Chris, so it looks like you're ready to jump in here with more of this presentation.
Yeah, well, just can I have 2 more slides? But I'll go back here. When you're thinking about Lyme, you're thinking about alpha-gal, or really thinking about dealing with anything. That's when your mitochondria are stressed, right? That's why it becomes this cycle, right, of inflammation, this cytokine storm triggered by these negatively charged reactive oxygen species that are being managed by the ESS60 molecules. Pretty, I don't, it's worth belaboring that, reducing the negative impact of stress mitochondria should have systemic benefits. I'll just touch on this, right? Neuroinflammation, we talked about that antioxidant. We talked about that mitochondrial energy. ultimately having that neuroplasticity so that you can process new information, so you can manage stress. And then this last slide is really, hey, what might you notice if you take the product? I know there are some people out there are super sensitive and they take it and they're like, oh, I feel it immediately. I'm just not that person. Like I wish I was. I'm just the data says that I'm not. As I go through life, I'm like, I'm not that in tune. So what people tend to notice, we think of it as a 3-month journey. It does have parallels with our most consistent testimonial of taking the product in the morning, reporting mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. So focus and energy is that first thing in month 1. I do rely on one testimonial. We got some product to an influencer. She took it in the morning, sent in her video that night, and she pointed out that she didn't finish her cup of coffee. Now, if you're a coffee drinker, that's a big deal. And I'll share, I used to be a 2 to 3 cup of coffee per day person. Now I'm more like 1, maybe a half. It's more about the ritual, more about the smell and the taste, etc. But yeah, that's an important notice. That's the focus and energy on month 1. Next month is deeper sleep. I do believe that this is happening early on, but everybody gets a little bit more or less sleep every day. And so it can be hard to pinpoint, oh, I started taking C60 Evo, and then now now I'm noticing that my sleep has improved. I've had conversations probably over the last 2 months, a couple of conversations where like, I'm not sure I really noticed anything. And I'm like, how are your dreams? And their eyes get like baby Bambi big, right? Because they're like, oh yeah, I'm like remembering my dreams. I'm having dreams again. That's just a sign that your sleep is positively being impacted. And then finally on month 3, it really is these systemic benefits. It's these benefits that are so strong, we have to do research in order to be able to talk about them. And that's why we're doing research. We're hoping to start this year 4 clinical trials. One is going to be on severe and frequent headaches. The next is going to be on hsCRP. So hsCRP stands for high sensitivity C-reactive protein. It's an inflammatory marker in your blood that is typically associated with cardiovascular disease, cancers. We've just got some great testimonials about it. And there's already peer-reviewed published research in beagles reducing hsCRP. So we're doing that study. Next is sleep. We already have an ad hoc study done. This is a small cohort of people. The most important piece is 100% of the people reported improvements in sleep when they were taking the product. So we want to do a more formalized version of that. And then finally, a wrinkle and age spot study, because the testimonials about our cosmetic product are just pretty phenomenal. So we're hoping to start those 4 this year.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Oh, I love hearing it, and it's so needed because we have to fight through the FDA. We got to fight through there. Yeah, praying that we're going to be having RFK Jr. stay with us there. I'm hearing some rumors around that effect, but anywho's, let's segue then and talk about products. And I'll just throw this in there before we go because it's in the back of my brain here, but I'm just going to throw this in there too, because I'm always asking Chris questions, and I often do it right here on these videos when they, but this is when we get to talk. So, I wanted to put out there and also hear your opinion, Patty, what you think, because I liked your last answer in response to the neuron health question. But I also been looking into photoactivity to do with nutrients recently, that there's certain nutrients when you eat them and you go out in the sun, they're activated, and then they are way more bioavailable and do a much better job. And it's, it's simple. That's what we need: sunlight. People must go outside and stand on the earth, right? And it's just so vital, those 2 things, as well as sweating, right? We have to sweat. But those, it was, turmeric was the one, right? Which is a huge anti-inflammatory. And so you eat turmeric, but then if you eat it right before you're going outdoors, or, within that range of after lunch kind of thing, and you get, take off as many clothes as you can and get sunshine in there, it superpowers the turmeric for what it does for your body. And so that's one thing I want. These are the kind of, studies I want, Chris, like, even though the other ones are so super awesome and exciting, that C-reactive protein one, that's amazing. And they all are, but that one's just like, ooh, yes. But this issue of, because it would make so much sense with the Evo and what it is as a, as a carbon molecule, just what sunlight and its interaction, especially because it also is, protects from radiation, and it has all these anti-radiation qualities. And I just wonder what the sunshine does with the Evo as it's saturating your body with its 400 times more, 400
Molecules.
times more molecules than your body has. It must, do something when the sun hits it, I would imagine. So I just want to throw that out there because that's my vibe. I'm pretty intuitive about these things.
Yeah, no, that's fun stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if that turns out to be the case, right? Like that wouldn't surprise me. I will throw in, I like this one. This one's kind of neat, right? We all know we need to get sunlight for vitamin D, right? And most of us are deficient in vitamin D because we don't get enough sunlight. Did you know that if you expose mushrooms to sunlight, the vitamin D amount in the mushrooms will increase? Right? So you should be exposing your mushrooms to some sunlight. The vitamin D, it actually transforms the same way that we do the sunlight into vitamin D. And then you're actually consuming more vitamin D in your mushrooms. I just learned that the other day, and it's kind of fascinating.
Fun fact.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Thank you.
I want to talk about
some mushrooms. Yeah.
One bit of evidence that C60 Evo really is good for the brain. My mother is the example. At 97 years old last month, she unfortunately is losing most of her friends because they're not taking C60 Evo. But her brain is still so sharp, she can remember everything I ask. I haven't stumped her yet at 97 years old. She uses our advanced facial serum. Her skin is gorgeous. I repeat, at 97. Her friends are heart attack, stroke. I mean, they're leaving. They can't hang out anymore. So she's on her own with her young helper who absolutely adores her because her brain's on fire, and she might make it to 100. Who knows? But she is why I know it works, because at her age, she's still reading books this thick, whereas her friends aren't even close. And my body worker that I work with once a week because of my hip replacements, I like to really see if I can maximize my healing. He told me last week something that just almost dropped me to my knees. He said, even though you're whining about thinking you're old, whatever, you are in the top 1% of people your age for mobility. And I said, oh, come on, I have new hips. He said, I've done 14,000 hours on human bodies of all ages. You are in the top 1 percentile. And the fact that you had these attempts on your life and you've got new hips, that you're as mobile as you are, as active at 73 years old, he just goes 1%. And he's had the product. I've already given him samples. So he knows how good it is, but it's so blatant to all of us that take it. And also, we aren't going through the emotional trauma that a lot of people are, because when your brain is balanced and not so full of toxins that make you crazy, and they're coming at us every day with the chemtrails and the dirt in the water, the fluoride in the water, the food that we talked about a couple months ago, even when it says organic and all these things, they don't have to say glyphosate. And so I'm throwing all my bread away. I'm throwing all my crackers away, because even though they say organic, this, that, they got glyphosate, and America's cleaning it up. I hope Bobby doesn't remove himself or otherwise, but I think that we're headed in the right direction. The awareness that's been brought to humanity, thanks to shows like yours, products like ours, as long as we stay relentless in our pursuit of helping people feel better and look better. Can't say the HEAL word, so we'll be mindful there. But it's about having the best life possible. And my final story is my 18-year-old adopted cat. She and I are about to take off for a few weeks in an RV, and she is as excited as I am. She told me. So I'm teaching her how to do the leash and halter thing, and she just looks at me like I'm 18. But I'm cool with this. So,
wow, that's amazing. Truly, that is amazing.
Next month, you're going to probably do a show with me and my Starlink and my cat somewhere in the woods north of here. But my kids have bailed on Colorado politics and filthy school situations. We can't fix it here. We are, as my rap daddy used to say, stuck on stupid. And Colorado's almost hopeless. Even though elections are coming, they might California-tize the elections. So who knows, we might get Satan and the kids again. My kids just up and left. They put the kids in the RV, theirs, and off they took. And I haven't seen them for 4 months. I'm losing my marbles because the road is so much better than being in Colorado, surrounded by the cell towers they just put up, surrounded by the smart meters on every house that they just forced us to do. So now I'm going, why am I sitting here? My brain knows better. I'm going to get the frick out of Dodge, take the cat with me, get somebody to water my plants once a week, and close the curtains. So I encourage everyone, get your brain back. It takes hardly any effort anymore. Spoonful of this, teaspoon, tablespoon, whatever frequency you're up for. I personally, I love it when I do a spoonful before shows, because now I'm on fire for the rest of the day. I start like you do with it in my coffee, and with the MCT being half as strong, I agree, twice as much does the trick.
Yeah.
But when you add a spoonful of this, I'm going to be unbelievably productive today. And I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much. Really glad to be working with you, and really glad to be working with Chris, because my life is better. And we're bringing a lot of improvements to people around the world. People are screaming. Our influencers are screaming sometimes at the top of a show. Paul Begley, are you serious? And then he says, I've lost 75 pounds. And then he goes down a list of medications he doesn't take anymore. We had a show with William Mount last week. He does a fan of, I don't know if they were hundreds or 20s, but a bunch of money. And he goes, that's how much I save every month. Now that I take this, I don't need all those medicines I used to and medical visits I used to. So I'm not saying it's going to help anybody else, because we're not allowed to, but our influencers are doing some of the funniest things because the products are helping them sincerely. And I know you wouldn't be doing a show with us if you didn't love the products, because you're that straight up with your audience. And when we miss a month, I hear from at least one, if not two of your audience members, where is she? Is she okay?
Yeah.
Write to me. I've had it every time we miss a month with you. I get 1 or 2 letters from people who adore you, and they say exactly that. And I'm like, she's fine.
Yes, it's so wonderful. I'm so lucky to have such a caring audience. That truly means the world to me. And, you know, whenever I hear about those things, I always, you know, I feel so heartened. And I know I'm getting so many prayers sent my way. And so many of them are taking Evo, and so their vibrations are high. But everybody praying, you know, it just means the world to me, honestly. So wouldn't be here without all of us, right? Here we are doing this together. So why don't we wind up here? And it's 42. So should we get into products here? I will remind everybody, anyone who donates to You Are Free TV gets 15% off at c60evo.com/YAFTV. The codes are in the description below. 10% off for regular people who don't want to donate and support You Are Free TV. And everybody, that means, can get 10% off on the products we've been talking about here. And Patty, why don't you go ahead and talk about the products here for a couple minutes before we wind up? Sound good?
You are the only show that gives percentages off, which is really nice and generous. We keep it going with you because it's only for your subscribers that are donators or in your gang.
In the gang.
That is a better discount than we do elsewhere. But on your landing page, which let's pull up now.
Yeah, I shared it.
Oh, I don't see it.
Got it. I'll bring it up.
Okay, it's c60evo.com/YAFTV. And this is
this picture?
Oh, that picture is not something I sent my guy. What the heck is that?
What is that doing there?
I promised to fix it. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
We'll go past
You know, somebody that's quite amazing. Wow. You know, this is that kind of, no, that's a great, I bet something happened there, because that kind of stuff has been happening to me lately. There's just a lot going on. You know how it is. I'm constantly being attacked. But that's very strange, wouldn't you say?
Oh no, I did send him a real photo of you. I don't think it was that one.
I can't imagine that it would have been. That's bizarre.
Funny. Well, at least it made us all laugh for a moment. So for all your people that have not tried the products yet, they're going to say, what do you recommend? And they're going to ask you, and you're going to recommend probably the same that we do, which is the organic olive oil. It's the one that's been used in almost every peer-reviewed test. And this special is not available on our website or any of our stores or links. It's only on your landing page, which is a 2-pack you'll save, a 3-pack of those bottles, or a 6-pack. You're going to save money, and a 12-pack, which is a case, you will save 25% off. And that's the biggest discount we do. Plus, make sure and use the code for free for You Are Free TV. And if you use her code, you're going to get another discount at checkout. The other product, we have 3 offerings of the 2, 3, 6 sale, is our Inside Out set. And we call it our starter set because it's for people that say, what do you recommend where I start? Going to get you hooked. It's the olive oil in the advanced facial serum, 21 organic, natural, vegan ingredients, so clean, and smells like rosemary oil, really lovely. It's got a base of chia seed oil, really effective on making your skin soft and smooth. And if you buy 2, you'll save money, and they're sold as a set, the starter set. Or 3, you'll save a little more. 6, you'll save even more, and a case, you'll save 25% off. The final offering is for the capsules. We're sticking with the olive oil because it is the most potent. And the capsules, yeah, you were hooked on those for a while.
Oh, love them. Love them. Miss them.
Great for travel because they won't take it out of your suitcase. Capsules, they know they're capsules, but a bottle of oil, they don't know what it is. And we've heard that they took them out. So the capsules are great for briefcase, purse, glove box. Just don't let them get in direct sun or any of our oils in direct sun or next to the stove where it's hot. And if you do, you'll just minimize the endurance of the potency, but they won't go bad that we know of. So these are our top recommended items, but we do also have a lot more in the store, which is way down below. Chris won't roll to it because I'm disciplining myself now to focus on the olive oil because we know it's the one that's the strongest. We have the MCT, which Free and I mentioned we do in our coffee. We also have avocado oil, delicious and nutty, great on a salad, better on a spoon so you don't have to lick the plate when you're done with your salad. We have a hair serum and a face serum that has peptides. We have dog formula, cat formula. And I will admit that my 18-year-old rescue cat has been on C60 Evo for cats. She is cooking. She is so active now. And when I got her 4 months ago, she barely walked. She was really crumpled up because the family bought a couple of dogs and she moved into a corner of their closet upstairs and didn't come down. So, for 2 years. So I brought her back and now she's on round 2 and we're going to go hit the country in the RV. And I bought her a stroller yesterday, a cat stroller.
I love it.
My grandkids, when we finally catch up, I did it because I want to go meet them. But, at 73 to be starting a new chapter, if it wasn't for Evo, I'd be in my old chapter. If it wasn't for Evo, I probably wouldn't be here. Bottom line. Thanks, Chris. Really glad to be here.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, everybody, just a reminder, the description is below to get the You Are Free TV discount. It's in the description. And you do have to go to my landing page where immediately upon getting off this video, Patty is going to go and take that picture off because I'm sure that was put in. Everybody who watches my show knows I talk about how much I'm attacked externally. And, it's amazing, but I know that's how that happens. So interesting. So that will be removed. And when you go to my wonderful landing page, there'll be a beautiful, lovely nature scenery type deal going on there or something else. And you'll be able to find all of those amazing, amazing discounts. She just talked about how the starter packs really work to get you in to know the product and that you have enough for that 3-month cycle that Chris was mentioning, that people say that, the beginning, oftentimes people in the beginning will feel either or both of a little bit of detox in the beginning or more, that with any new incredible sort of super nutrient that you take, this is the cycle. But a lot of people jump immediately right to as I did when I first started taking it, the incredible up effect of where, you know, I felt incredibly like, whoa, energy, clarity. My eyes felt like they were double the size open. Just all this great stuff happening in my brain, I'm sure, having to do with getting the mitochondria healthy and the neurons and what that means for blood flow, oxygenation, all the incredible things that happen. And so a lot of people feel that immediately, but then it goes on into more of a, you know, it evens out and you're just healthier, right? And, you know, for entertainment purposes only. And then, you know, then you, after that, start noticing, whoa, I'm sleeping better than I have. You know, I'm not needing these stimulants. I have steadier, longer energy, et cetera, and all that good stuff. So the 3-month plan is a really good way to, with any supplement you're going to take or any product that you need to give it this kind of time. You know, it's nothing is like instant soup when it comes to healing. Everything deserves this focused attention to give it the information it's going to give you, you know, your attention, right? So anyhow, I want to thank you both so much. This is incredible. You know, to talk about neuron health is probably my favorite topic out there. And so I want to just thank you both so much for coming today. And I think this was fantastic. I've learned a lot and had a lot of fun. And yeah, I guess we'll be next time. I'll see you next month. And Patty, I can't wait to see you in the RV with the cat.
Who knows where I'll
and
be.
you got to send me a pic of this cat in the stroller. I've seen that before and I find it highly amusing.
Well, I got her a leash and a halter and she looked at me like, I'm 18. What are you thinking?
I know.
I said,
I know.
Get in.
I love it. I love it.
All right, buddy.
All right, you.
Great
All
to
right,
see you.
Chris, good to see you too.
No,
And
no,
everybody
no.
out there, oh, that too. No. All right, everyone out there, you are free. And I will see you tomorrow with the news.